Welcome everybody to Midweek Mindfulness. I hope everybody's doing well. It's uh it's a rainy day here in Powhatan, Virginia. Um, it's been a it's been a really long year this year, hasn't it? And we're coming to that place where the 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 year is beginning to wrap up. I've seen a lot of wishes and hopes for 2021. A lot of desire for change, you know, um, because it's been such a difficult and challenging year for so many people. I think about that all the time, and that it's so normal to want things to change when they're unpleasant. But when they're pleasant, we don't want things to change, right? So we end up in this 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 push and pull um, kind of life where we really push away the things that don't feel comfortable to us, and we try to cling to the things that feel really good to us. Again, a very natural, human way of being, a very normal way to be. Something to consider from a mindfulness perspective is really being cognizant of, really being aware of the differences between the things that are hard and the things that or are unpleasant and the things that feel good. Um, and then finding a way to really sort through those carefully, right? Vipassana, which is what this kind of like mindfulness meditation is called, coming out of the Theravada Buddhist tradition. Um, but even if we're talking about, the ancient, Christian fathers who went to the desert and they sat in caves, or they, dug pits in the desert, and they meditated and they prayed, and they would be there for sometimes months at a time, and they would have acolytes that would come and bring food and other things so that they could survive. Or whether it was the Sufi mystics, or um, the different monastic traditions, kind of from all over the world, they all practice, these very same things. There's something really common to humanity about these practices, which is why they're so beautiful, right? They're a part of who we are. um, Even though they've been kind of neglected more recently in our cultural expression. um, but they offer us a different way of understanding hard and easy, or uncomfortable and comfortable, right? So um, and and we don't want to dive into something that's super uncomfortable and force ourselves to endure it either, right? Like sometimes that's really not helpful because it does damage to us. Just like something that feels really, really, really good and you become attached to it, that becomes an addiction, right? Whether it's sugar or alcohol or whatever, right? Um, so we always want to look, be really mindful of where we are on our connection to the experiences we're having. And the way we talk about this, especially like in Cobra mindfulness, or in what we call trauma-based mindfulness, which is where you have to be super careful with people who have had former traumas in their life, which is like all of us, is to think about your window of tolerance. So for instance, if I have so right now I have a physical pain. So I have a vertebra here up in my back that causes me pain from, you know, my time in the military and not being careful, and I hurt myself. So now it has, arthritis and has a series of things. So from time to time, particularly this time of the year when it starts getting cold and stuff outside, it starts to really hurt. And So I have to be mindful of how do I approach that pain in a way that is mindful, but it's still helpful to me. So if it becomes too painful, right? If it moves in my window of tolerance to the top end of, this really hurts, then I really need to manage that, right? It's not just, there may be something more that's going on there. And I need to go see a medical practitioner or my chiropractor or somebody to help me manage that particular pain. And if it's all the way down at the end of the spectrum, right, then that's a little easier, right? Like that's, we can start to work with that. So you want to find out is like, what is your range? What is your window of tolerance for whatever the feeling or whatever the thought or whatever the experience is that you're having? So when I think about like a physical pain, it's like that smiley chart at the doctor's office where they're like, how much pain are you experiencing today on 1 to 10? And you've got the one that's smiling, and the 10 that's like in pure agony. So, so when we're being mindful about things, we want to tap in, right, to our experience of it and see where we are. So, and if we're at a 1 through 3, then maybe we sit with that discomfort, right? Maybe you take it into your meditation practice, or maybe we just pause and take a time out and really check in with it and connect to it because so many times in our lives, it's the really hard things that turn out to be the most valuable things, right? It's that exercise regimen that you stick to, right? That really, really gets your body fit and in shape. Or it's that really hard conversation that you have with that loved one or that person that you work with that really makes all the difference in your ability to work with them or to be with them, and it opens communication back up and things start to flow again and it just works so much better. But we got to get through that hard part sometimes to really make things work. So but we want to look at that, how difficult is this, and we want to look at it from our window of tolerance. If it's in the 1 to 3 range, then yeah, totally, this is our opportunity to be mindful about it and to connect with it and manage it. If it's in that 4 to 6 range, then maybe, right? Maybe we lean into the discomfort to see what's really there. Maybe we try to sit with it and see how things are going. And but if it's in that 7 to 9 range, we probably need help. Maybe there's somebody else that we can pull into the situation, or maybe there's just work that we need to do ourselves so that we're really in a better place to start to manage whatever it happens to be, right? So so always like checking in and tapping in with yourself, like where am I in my window of tolerance? Like especially like the fun one that's coming up is the holiday season, right? So there's a couple of instances that are always really big for me for window of tolerance. So one is sweets, so holiday sweets, right? There's my partner is from the south, and her mother makes the most amazing caramel cake you've ever had in your life. It's phenomenal. Not to mention the chocolate pie and the pecan and the yeah. So and then there's little things everywhere that are just sweetened nuts and all kinds of stuff everywhere that you can just munch on all the time. So I used to just go have it. You just yeah, didn't even hesitate. Just totally just fed that the entire time I was in the holiday season, and then I come back after Christmas and just work really, really hard to, or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah, and I would come back and I would, really work hard physically to burn all that off. Um, but the more I've practiced, the more I am learning to be really mindful about it, right? So like if I know that there's something that like like for instance, I try things and I taste it and then I watch what my body does, right? So if my body craves that, then then I'm probably not going to have another bite of that. Right? Like I'm just going to say, you know what? That's too high on my window of tolerance. That's a 9 on the sweet scale, and I don't need to touch anything that's a 9. So I'm going to stick to like the 1 to 5 on the sweet scale when I'm enjoying that part, right? Uh, it's like you go to the fridge to get a piece of that pie, but there's a yogurt there, right? And or a piece of fruit, and they're sweet, right? I mean, not compared to pie, but they're sweet, right? And it might still meet that craving, that satisfaction. So you grab it and you try it, and you see what it's like, and you see, right? So we really connect with our experience, and we really watch what happens. And you eat the peach, and you're like, yeah, that was really good. Like, wow, that satisfied the craving. yeah, that's really not doing it. But now I just have a smaller piece of pie, right? Like, right. So it's really about really being mindful of yourself, really connecting with your experience of everything that's going on in your life. This is why we practice, so that life becomes more nuanced. It becomes richer, and hmm, it becomes fuller in a way. It's when you do have a chance to spend time with people that you love and care about over the holidays, right? There's a one of the other desires is to buy them, exactly the gift that they would want, right? And not like the one that they would be satisfied with, but the one that they would totally blow them out of the water. And it's only $700, right? For your one of your 12, nephews. so so then, watching yourself, right? Like, well, I kind of like that kid more than that kid. So, like really being mindful of that, right? And really watching where you are inside when you're connecting and you're managing these parts of yourselves. And then deciding for yourself what that looks like, right? Like nobody can tell you what that's supposed to be like except for you. So that's the beauty of it, is this is a chance to really bring a whole different level of satisfaction. And the nice part about this practice is the more we practice it, then so when it comes to something that might be negative, like too much sweets, right? Like there's inevitably regret. So and sometimes that comes with the I feel too full and I feel bloated. Um, and sometimes it's, wow, I just reactivated a sweet tooth and I don't know when I'm going to get that under control again. Um, or it's something that you're not supposed to eat, right? And it ends up upsetting your body, or you know. But on the other side too is did I do enough, right? Did I let myself be free enough to really enjoy and get the pleasure out of, right? To be able to savor the pleasure of this moment, or this experience, right? So it's not always about curbing, right? Because I mean that's helpful and it's a wonderful thing, but it's like the old saying, everything in moderation. Like everybody knows this saying, right? Yes, but a very good friend of mine who teaches philosophy up at the University of Chicago, he used to always look at me and I would say, "Hey, everything in moderation," and he'd say, "Yes, even moderation." Right? Sometimes you just have to go to the extreme, right? Um, because that's all a part of it, right? But really being able to watch yourself and be mindful of what you're actually experiencing in that moment. It stops us from, eating a small piece of pie, or a reasonable piece of pie, to eating half a pie, right? Like, like that's the difference, right? It helps us notice that, yeah, we're tired during our workout, but man, your muscles feel good, and your body really likes this, and your mental state is improving, and right, so like this is a really good thing. Or it's, wow, this person that I have to manage every year at this time of the year, they make me uncomfortable, and I would prefer not to do that in the way that I've done it in the past. So, do I want to bring somebody else into the mix with that? Is there another way that I want to handle this? Right? So, it's um it's a way to really, really be sensitive to who you are, so that we can really honor who we are and have the richest, fullest experience of everything that we do, right? Whether you're working on something for work, or enjoying something over the holidays, or, it doesn't matter. Like it's all about just living life to the fullest. So, uh, I was just really on my mind and my heart since we were coming into the holiday season. And I know that we're meeting right now, and that we will be taking a break over the holidays. So that everybody can, have time off to really spend time with family. Um, yeah, so I hope that everybody has a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, and all those things, of course. But let's go ahead and sit and get into our position, whatever that looks like for you. Whether you're sitting with your back tall to allow that nice flow in the spinal column, right? And allow the full expansion of the diaphragm and the lungs as we breathe. Or if it's more of a reclining position, because that's what's most comfortable for your body physically, but at the same time allows you to be really alert mentally, because that, of course, is one of the keys to our practice. So I'm going to go ahead and begin by inviting the bell. So let's go ahead and begin by just taking a couple of nice deep breaths in through the nose, pausing at the top. Nice, long, slow exhale, and just really beginning to connect, right? Connect to your body, connect to your breath, connect to the sensation of gravity pulling you downward. Feel that connection to the chair, the sofa, or the cushion, or the floor, or whatever you're resting on. You know, the comforter on the bed, whatever that is for you, just settling into it, right? Noticing the gentle and perfect amount of force that the earth has created in its gravitational field for us to be safe and snug right here on its surface. Hmm. Feeling the movement of the oxygen and nitrogen and the byproduct of the whole community of life on our planet, right? Every aspect of it contributes to this wonderful sea of oxygen that we swim in each and every day. And so breathe it into your body and notice that sensation. Notice the slight coolness on the in-breath and that warmth on the out-breath. Maybe even savoring the luxury of being able to breathe, during this time of a pandemic where so many people can't breathe. It is a sweet luxury to be able to breathe for so many. So maybe we can just take a moment to honor and treasure the sensation of the breath moving in and out of our bodies, as well as a moment of space for those who struggle all over the world right now. What's something that we take so for granted? And maybe even dedicating our practice today to them and their healing and their strength and for those that are ready to transition, for their ability to do that gracefully. So keep breathing, connecting to your breath, noticing the movement of it in and out of the body as we connect to our environment in this rich and beautiful way. And then begin to just if it's comfortable, just let your breath settle. Let your body begin to take over the breathing, just like it's been doing for millions of years of our evolution. Our bodies have learned to feed on the atmosphere and then contribute back to it, to sustain it, to nourish it, to take part in it, right? It's like our communion with all of life on the planet. We take part and we share in it with each and every breath. And as always, when the mind wanders or noises in the environment distract us, that's okay. Practice non judgment and just simply take note of whatever it was and then release it and come back to the breath, back to your body, back to this place, this moment. Noticing any place in your body where you might be holding tension. Shining the light of our awareness just on that spot, on your shoulders or your hips, your knees, your back. Maybe it's the little muscles in your forehead or your jaw. Just gently notice your body. And if there are places where you feel some tension, just bring that awareness to that place. And then breathe. Notice how your awareness just allows the relaxation, that part of the body. Noticing if your mind has wandered, and gently coming back to the breath, back to the body. Sharpening our awareness on each in-breath, and just letting the body get heavier and heavier with each out-breath, fully relaxing into this place, this moment in time, this now. Go ahead and allow your breath to deepen. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, hold it at the top, and gently release, savoring this moment of quiet and peacefulness as we bring our meditation to an end. So as always, thank you so much all for being here. You make this such a special time and place every week, and it's so powerful. And think of other alums you may know who might benefit from this, or if you have family, working at home who can join you during this time, please know that they're always welcome. So yes, absolutely. You too, Laurie. Have the truly the happiest holidays and a really pleasant break. Take good care, and I'll see everybody in the new year.